This is KGW News at noon.
It is a Tuesday afternoon, but not just any Tuesday. Today is Super Tuesday with 15 states across the U.S. holding primary elections today, all leading up to the big presidential showdown this coming November. Thanks for joining us here at noon. I'm Drew Carney. On the Republican side, of course, former President Donald Trump is looking to build on his already large lead over GOP rival and former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley. Meanwhile, President Biden going largely unchallenged on the Democratic side. For more on the primary races for both parties, here's NBC's Garrett Haake.
This morning, the road to the White House stretching from coast to coast as Republican voters in 15 states, from Alaska to Alabama, cast their primary ballots. GOP frontrunner Donald Trump, who swept the first 7 states of the primary, is widely expected to pick up the lion's share of the more than 800 delegates at stake today.
Haley, she's not a problem. I think she's very negative for the party, but she's not a problem in terms of winning because we're winning by a lot.
It's great to be here in Fort Worth.
While Nikki Haley, fresh off her first victory of the campaign over the weekend in Washington, D.C., taking aim at Trump in Texas, arguing since his first term, he's been a drag on the party as a whole, with losses at the state and federal levels.
At some point, maybe we should say the reason that America keeps losing is because of Donald Trump.
Today's Super Tuesday contests come on the heels of a unanimous Supreme Court ruling Monday in Mr. Trump's favor, ordering his name be included on primary ballots in Colorado and other states where courts or officials had tried to bar him for allegedly engaging in insurrection on January 6th.
You cannot take somebody out of a race because an opponent would like to have it that way.
Mr. Trump praising the ruling and arguing he's been politically targeted by the Biden Department of Justice.
They're nonsense cases and everybody sees it.
The Biden campaign responding, calling Mr. Trump's statement, quote, unhinged, confused ramblings focused only on himself.
Again, that was NBC's Garrett Haake reporting for us this afternoon. Super Tuesday doesn't involve Oregon or Washington, although Washington's presidential primary is right around the corner, happening next Tuesday, the 12th. Oregon's primary doesn't happen until mid-May. A Clark County man who spent 3 years in jail after he was charged with murder is suing the Vancouver detective who arrested him. The federal lawsuit was filed last month naming Vancouver Police Detective Dustin Godshaw as the sole defendant. It argues that Richard Knapp should not have been arrested based on the evidence available at the time and that his Fourth Amendment rights were violated. Knapp was arrested in 2019 and charged with the 1994 murder of 26-year-old Audrey Frazier. Detectives said crime scene DNA pointed them to Knapp after the case had gone cold for years. Knapp spent 3 years in jail, but in 2022, just days before his trial was set to start, prosecutors dropped the charges, saying new evidence had cast doubt on that case, and Knapp was released. All right, a quick break from our news headlines this afternoon for this live look outside. Blue skies this afternoon in Cannon Beach. I'll tell you what, Rod Hill, that is a pretty picture this afternoon. I'm not sure how cold it is there, but it still looks awesome.
They're in the upper 40s. They're probably going to hit 50. So they're sunny. Portland is not. They have a chance to hit 50. Portland will not. Where would you rather be? Good afternoon. We are still generally feeding out of this cool pool, or cold pool of air, really, for this time of the year out in the Pacific. A couple things to point out here at the noon hour. Number one, we still have a winter storm warning in effect until, at this point, 4 p.m. this afternoon for parts of southern Oregon. You see some of the snow shower activities actually up into Baker County. And then we've got the heavier snow amounts, especially above 3,000 feet in the mountains down around the Medford area and getting into elevations above the Grants Pass. So we're looking at all of that. Now up here where we are, we have mostly dried out. There's still some traces of rain around in some of the areas. You can see the visible satellite pictures picking up the low cloud deck up and down I-5. Here's Uquinta Bay and Newport. They're at 48 degrees, so the coast is fantastic. Partly cloudy, not clear, but partly cloudy up in Gearhart. The camera there at Gearhart by the sea looking back at Tillamook, and there's the city of Seaside right there. But inland, yeah, we haven't broken out of the clouds yet. 42 is the temperature. I can't find any reason why we will not break out of the clouds. I'm going to still say we will become partly cloudy. And if we do so soon enough, we'll get up to about 47, 5 more degrees today at 4 o'clock. with light winds. The forecast is all dry the next 3 days. That 7-day forecast is coming up.
All right, Rob, we look forward to that here in a few minutes. Right now, though, back to some local headlines. Portland police are asking for help to find this missing man. His name is Robert Kemp Jr., and he was last seen leaving a group home in Northeast Portland's Centennial neighborhood right around 8:30 last Friday night. Police say Kemp suffers from a mental health disorder, and if it's not treated, he could be a danger to himself and others. He's about 5'8", 150 pounds, and was last seen wearing a black beanie, a brown jacket, and was carrying a black trash bag. If you see him, call 911. State lawmakers in Washington have passed a voter-backed initiative that changes what has been a controversial police pursuit law. The initiative goes into effect in 90 days, giving police in Washington the opportunity and ability to pursue any suspect who breaks the law. Back in 2021, the state restricted pursuits to specific crimes like DUIs, escapes, and sex crimes. Back then, legislators who supported the law argued that restricting police pursuits would prevent deaths among officers, suspects, and bystanders. But now, the state is changing course. We heard from Washington Senator Linda Wilson, who shared the story of Clark County Sergeant Jeremy Brown, who was killed in 2021.
It was during this period of time that one of the suspects ambushed and murdered him with one of the guns our officers were trying to keep off the street.
The new state initiative allows police to pursue suspects that break any law, although cities and counties in Washington can still choose to have their own more restrictive policies on police chases. A few weeks ago, the Portland Public School District announced plans to cut $30 million from its budget, with roughly half of that coming from school budgets and the other half coming from the central office budget. But it turns out central office does not necessarily mean management positions. Central office staff also includes employees who work closely with students, like speech pathologists and behavior analysts. We talked to a couple of people who work in those roles who told us their positions could be among the ones that are cut.
When you hear that, oh, central office staff, central office positions, you immediately think management positions, non-student facing positions.
We also heard from a district spokesperson who says no cuts have been set in stone at this point, and anything could still change before next year's budget is finalized sometime next month. Employees at a Walmart in Battleground, meanwhile, found a bank card skimmer device attached to a payment terminal at one of the store's registers. They found it there on Sunday, and now police are asking people who may have bought something at that Walmart to check their bank statements. If you're not familiar with a skimmer, this is a look at one right here. It's a device that can access information that's encoded on bank or credit cards. And according to police, the device may have been attached to that Walmart register anywhere between 6 a.m. and 10:45 p.m. last Sunday. If you think your financial information has been compromised, you can call 311 to file a report.